Wherever you're listening to this podcast, I want you to do me a favor. When it's safe, if you're listening to the car, make sure you pull the car over. Don't do this while driving. I want you to go to the USL League One standings and just take a look. Just a quick look and see who's still top after 4 games have been played. That's right. It's FC Naples. Paul, we're still top of the league. I'm not going to sing this week. I think we lost some listeners after I sang last week. But still top of the league, coming off a 0-0 draw with Portland Hearts of Pine, another home game, another solid performance from our back line and goalkeeper. What did you make of all that?
I thought that it was a game that was boring, but an exciting atmosphere to be a part of. It was just one of those games where neither team really had any high danger chances, and it really felt like both teams. I think I mentioned it to you at the game that it felt like both teams were content with the 0-0 draw. Um, I think we had some chances early on, but nothing that I think we had one or two get out of your seat moments, even though we don't have seats. We're standing the whole game. Um, Moments, and it just shows that I think we are a team that you're going to have your best stuff to beat us. If you want to get one by our back line and Delgado, um, you're going to have to do everything right from start to finish. Uh, we close down, even when one or two mistakes are made, there's always somebody there to the rescue to clear out anything that opponents can throw at us. But as for the game, I think taking a point is always going to be good. Portland had a great showing from their fans for their opening league game. Um, you know, but yeah, it's kind of a bummer to have that outlook on it. But that's really what I got from that performance.
Yeah, I think this game really proved for our entire back line, starting from Delgado, Breck Evans, Jake Dangler I thought had a great game. Julian Cisneros again at left back, another solid performance from him. And then Max Glasser as well at right back there, another great performance. As well as Christopher Heckenberg, who kind of played that central defensive midfield role. I thought all 5 of them, as well as Delgado, just did a fantastic job, just suffocating them in that final third. We saw a lot their front line and the entire Portland team just getting really frustrated again with the style of play that we play. That low block, just we're not going to let you get anything done in the final third. And if you are able to get a shot off, well, we've got Delgado back there who's capable of making great saves, and he proved that again with a great save there in the 90th minute.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's a performance that we would love to have on the road. I think that, that's the type of performance you go on the road, take the 0-0 result. And part of what I was thinking that the number of games in the travel might have been in our legs a little bit. My hope is that this early in the year that was not a major factor, but we had just played our match, our cup match, and then they were in Spokane, and I know there was a week in between. That's still a lot of travel um, to overcome, and I'm just hoping that that's not a pattern or something I would be expecting late in the year when you played a lot of games. But 4 or 5 games in, I was hoping that wouldn't show. So I'm curious to see if you think that played any role in kind of the midfield and attacking players just not looking like they had the legs to go the distance.
Yeah, I think that definitely kind of had part of it. We did see what looked to be some heavy legs out there. And it was also, a rainy night, a
Yep.
super humid night. which does affect both teams. And a lot of these players, they've been here since January, but they're not really used to that intense. I mean, it's like a sauna out there,
Yep.
in here in Naples in the summer, which we're now in. Now that it's the end of March, early April, that's summer, full on
Summer.
summertime. But
Summer for everyone else.
yes,
The,
those
the
poor
climate.
Portland fans. I mean, we think we looked it up. It was 32 degrees at kickoff in Portland, Maine, and it was like 80 something here in Naples. So I'm sure they were having fun. It sure sounded like they were having fun.
Sure
But I
did.
also think there's just a big disconnect right now between like that back five that I mentioned and the front five. Everything coming out seemed to just be long balls, and we would just kind of hope that the wingers could get onto it and chase it down. And to their credit, they did, and we did have a couple chances that just flashed wide. But it seems like there's a disconnect, and we're not really able to play out of the back the way we'd almost expect. And I don't know if that was strategy of because Portland seemed to have a very solid midfield and be very solid on the wings. And I don't know if that was part of the game plan coming in of, hey, we're gonna have to ping these long balls and we're just gonna kind of dump and chase, or if it was just, hey, we're tired at the back, we're just gonna boot these down. You guys go deal with them. That's something I don't know. I like to think that was all part of the plan, and it just didn't really work out, except for those couple of chances, like you mentioned, but a couple get up on your feet, like ooh, but nothing major, nothing spectacular from their goalkeeper either.
Well, and I think, and you mentioned the weather, there were several long passes or long crosses that just hit the turf and went. So
Yes.
I'm wondering, and I don't know enough about soccer, grass versus turf, but and if balls would have been doing the same on natural grass. But it was that definitely played a role in balls that probably would have been tracked down by our wingers just ended up going out of bounds because they hit the ground in skid more and really just got away from our guys because the field was wet. Quite frankly, I was pleasantly surprised that we were able to get through that one without much actual rainfall. With the weather all day, I thought we were going to be getting soaked. And obviously, there were a couple times that it was drizzling, but just the wet field probably also takes away from some of the ability to be explosive because that field does get very very slick and cutting becomes a little more challenging. So it could have just been one of those things. Both teams, hey, the field conditions aren't great. We're gonna, play it conservatively. No need to risk injury, in match day 4. Um, so just another thing that we just aren't inside the locker room to know, what those pre-match halftime discussions were.
Yeah, I think that definitely had played a factor in it. Overall, just a strange game to kind of watch. Just not a lot happening for either team. Just a lot of long balls, like you said, a lot of balls that you think the guy's going to get on the end of, and it just kind of skips out of bounds, out for a throw. Felt like there's a lot of throw-ins in that game, um, and then
We
a
almost
lot.
we almost got a ball in the beer garden. One came up into the hill. I thought I was finally going to get the ball, get the Pele ball.
Yes, we did. A lot of yellow cards shown. A lot of yellow cards shown early. It seemed. Uh, Definitely interesting. A great crowd though from both Naples, and shout out to the Portland fans. As much as we like to trash talk on this podcast, they showed up and showed out for their first ever game. I think the announced attendance was somewhere around 4,300, which
Was
is
it really?
yeah, which is it's pretty solid numbers for a rainy night in Naples with other things to do.
Which would be the most we've had, I believe.
I think
Um,
I think we had 4,600 the first couple games.
I thought it was I thought it was in the 38s the first 2 games. I could be wrong.
I'm double
Um,
checking. Yeah, 4,600 between the first
okay.
two at both the first and second game against Madison.
So pretty, so that's pretty good. And really, it was the middle seats, the expensive seats that looked empty. The supporter section was full. The beer garden was full. Looked like there were a couple, business groups up in the box in the porch area. I was really pleasantly surprised uh, with the conditions all day. That would have been a really easy game to say I'm not going to go to with the weather. And the fact that we had so many people there, uh, I thought is a huge win for FC Naples.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, their fans were great. It looked like there was some banter between them and our supporter section. Um, you know, Although the supporter section itself in Portland was small, there were a lot of jerseys kind of throughout the stadium. Uh, in the line to get in, it was almost more Maine fans. Uh, I got there a little later than I planned, coming from the East Coast, but I was surprised by how many Portland supporters showed up, which makes you think that they have to live in South Florida and are just here, showed up to the game to support their new hometown team.
Yeah, I think a lot of them did come down from Portland, Maine. Made
Wow.
a little trip out of it for their first ever game. I mean, who wouldn't want to come down here? We keep saying it week in and
Correct.
week out, but yeah, a lot came down for their first ever game, and I think Portland, credit where it's due, I think they're going to be a pretty good team this year. Their number 10 Ollie Wright seemed to be really solid. We just kind of got under his skin and didn't let him do much, which you could tell he was annoyed about from the get go. And it really showed there towards the end that he just wasn't able to do what he's capable of doing because we shut him down.
I am curious to see, and this is a good question for the soccer ref that's on the podcast. Is we talk in other sports about cleaning up the games. Is that something that goes through officials' minds? Where hey, I'm gonna throw some yellow cards early on things that are you know maybe not quite deserving of a yellow, but because of how Naples tends to play, um, I'm going to try to get ahead of this early and have no nonsense. Is that something that's discussed amongst the officials, or is that something that soccer refs do?
Yeah, you kind of have to have a baseline of what you're expecting. I mean, officials do watch film too, and obviously we've got 4 games of tape that the officials could watch on Naples to kind of get a sense of style of play and everything. And I mean, we are the kind of team that just is gonna bite your ankles. Um, just a team that really shuts you down. I mean, look at our defensive statistics. We've given up 1 goal all season in the USL, and it was a worldie at that.
Worldly. Yeah.
Um, so I think they probably knew we're a very defensive team. Um, but yes, I thought yellow cards came out very early and then very inconsistently from there. It's a very tough job refereeing. I've done it for years. It's difficult, right? Like one thing you think it's a yellow card, and then that happens again. You're like, oh shoot, now I got to give this guy a yellow card, and we're 20 minutes in, and I've given out 2 really soft yellows. But
Nope.
that's kind of what it seemed like. That bar was set really low, and then once you do have those yellow cards out, now you've got guys kind of tiptoeing around, and it changes the game immensely. And I think we did see some of that.
Yeah, and I thought overall the officiating was fine. I did not like it, this ref, I have no idea who it is, seemed to be a little more look at me. I'm controlling this game. It seemed like every time there was a throw in, a free kick, um, he was stopping play and making players move back. And we even had the one late in the game where they tried to go quick. I think it was late in the game when they tried to go quick and he blew it dead, made them reset and move back, and they didn't even move back. And they played it backwards, so he let it go. But there was, it seemed like he was blowing the whistle a lot, moving people back, uh, which there's a time and a place for. I don't think that there's a big advantage in the 3 or 4 yards you're getting on a free kick or a throw when you're in your side of the field. You still got 50, 60 yards to goal.
Right.
Uh, so I think that and you said there were a lot of throw-ins. It did just feel almost like a clunky game, not a lot of free play.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah, lots of
and
fouls and lots of fouls just in that like simple fouls in that middle third of the field.
yeah,
Just like fouls around the halfway line that it kind of seemed like neither team wanted. Um,
mhm.
which we were warned by fellow podcasters within USL League One. Get ready because this league is vibes and chaos, and that kind of applies to everything from referees to players to week in and week out. It's important to remember this is a developmental league too for these referees, so a lot of them are younger. Still working on getting that professional level experience because obviously you don't go from doing a U14 game on a Saturday to MLS the next week. You kind of have to work your way up, and that's where most of these referees are at. So I think we're going to have some very good ones throughout the year and also some very bad ones, and then one's in the middle of the road like this guy.
Yeah, and that's not. And there were no knocks on. I mean, you thought some of the yellows were soft, but like to me, I thought the officiating of the actual game was fine. It almost felt like the game management was a little weaker. Um, but again, nothing. He didn't impact the game. He didn't insert himself that directly impacted anything crazy, which is why I thought it was a little odd that it was, look at me when nothing's going on. I'm going to just show everybody I'm still here.
Right.
Uh,
When it's just a clunker of a game of it,
yeah,
almost like a rock fight of just let's just battle each other here in this middle third and go from there.
and there is something to be said. The foul was there. That's where you're going to take the kick, or the ball went out there. That's where you're going to throw the ball. And the flip side could be that's how. Uh, yeah. So, but yeah, again, it didn't impact the game. Um, he is not the reason that it was a 0-0 draw. So, just wanted to kind of get your take on that.
Of course, yeah. So now FC Naples moves on. Open Cup match. If you're listening to this on the day it comes out, which is we're recording this on April Fool's Day. Completely forgot to try and pull an April Fool's Day prank, but you're probably listening to this on April 2nd. Tonight, FC Naples will take on Little Rock Rangers of USL League Two. Little Rock Rangers been around since 2016. They've got a pretty solid history. They've made USL League Two playoffs for a few years now. Made it to the round of 16 last year, which got them into the Open Cup. But Paul, what are you expecting to see out of this game?
Uh, I'm expecting. So what I want to happen and what I expect to happen are not the same. Uh, I want FC Naples to go out there and show that we are a league above you. We are quality above you. Um, we're going to win this game, 3-0.
Yeah,
Don't want to see cheap goals, but also, it's an opportunity to do a little bit of a squad rotation because we are playing, on paper, the lesser opponent.
yeah.
Uh,
Lesser opponent on Wednesday, and then have to go out to Texoma in Sherman, Texas, traveling all the way out there for a Saturday kickoff. So, you've got Thursday, Friday. One of those days you're going to have to travel to recover after this game. So I think squad rotation, definitely a good idea.
and it goes back to what's most important to a club. Uh, and obviously, to win the U.S. Open, you're going to have to, you know, it would be a miracle run for us to actually win the U.S. Open. Uh, as biased of a fan as I am, like that's the reality. You got to get through championship level teams and then MLS, albeit probably some B squad teams. Um, but I think for us, it's important to get to those big clubs. Um, so I don't want to, be in the 80th minute looking for a winner. I'm assuming that this does. I don't know how the U.S. Open works. I'm assuming it goes extra time and PKs.
It
Um,
will, yes, if
I'm
it
guessing
finished.
there's no replays here.
No
Uh,
replays.
you know, and we saw it with the our European team with Forrest having to play 120 minutes and then play 3 days later. That's really hard on the boys. So winning in 90 minutes needs to be our goal, even if that means bringing on our starters kind of in the early second half. Um, so I expect the first half to be slow, and hopefully we can get an early goal, and then just let our back line um, do its thing and get out of there 1-0, 2-0, and move on to wherever Texoma is.
Yes. Part of me really wants to see these play the normal starting 11 and then sub them off in the second half. But I think we need a little bit more game time to kind of get that back line and the midfield on the same page.
Sink.
Yeah, all synced up and firing it on all cylinders. But I also want to see some of these guys who we've not really seen yet um, come in and show us what they're about. Try and earn that shirt because I don't think anyone in the current starting 11 has done anything to lose the shirt or to give anyone else an opportunity off the bench. Again, I don't know what's going on at training or anything like that, but I do think it might be nice to give some of these guys, that we've seen mainly coming off the bench, a chance to start and then prove, hey, I'm your go-to cup guy, and I'm going to be the first name off the bench, every single game.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see if Naples is going to have one of those explosive offensive days. We haven't seen it yet. Um, and I, as much as I want that to be our style of play, it's not. We are a
Yeah.
defensive minded team, and which makes it tough when you're playing a lesser opponent. You don't want to just sit back and play kind of that same way, um, and give a lesser opponent chances. Um, I am curious to see how this one gets handled. This seems like it's a better team than that Sarasota squad we faced in round one. So just another opportunity to get three. It's not 3 points, but to get the win. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Is to me winning in 90 minutes and reshifting the focus um, to Saturday.
Yeah, get the win, get your name in the hat for the next round, and the next round we do see some of the bigger USL Championship sides get added. We saw teams like Miami FC, who would probably be in our I don't know what they call them anymore in the Open Cup regions. I should probably know this because I've become obsessed with the Open Cup. I had it on right before we started recording. Little Inter Miami 2 or whatever they are, Inter Miami's B team against the Miami FC, little Miami derby action. Um, but yeah, just getting your name in the hat and being ready to see who you draw up against. I mean, it could be a big boy from the championship and we go for the cup set, or it could be another USL League One team. You don't know. But again, you won't know that unless your name's in the hat. So you just get out there with a win by any means possible, and then look forward to Texoma on Saturday.
It'll be interesting. I think that this will be our first weekday home match. Um, so I'll be curious. I assume you're going
Yes.
to the game, so I'll be excited when we talk later in the week. Kind of what our showing um, looked like, and it's a pretty weak sports day, so I'll be watching for sure on my couch tomorrow night, and just just curious to see the energy that Naples is going to bring on a weekday match.
Yeah, Wednesday night. I'm not sure what the weather's supposed to look like, but a Wednesday night match, and a match that's kind of been scheduled within the past 2 weeks. Um, they've done a good job, I think, sending out emails, trying to get people excited for the Open Cup match. The Open Cup's such a historic tournament. It really does
Yep.
not get nearly enough respect that it deserves. It's in its 110th season.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah.
it's absolutely insane that this soccer tournament's been around for so long, and you look at some of the historic teams that have played in it and that have won it well before MLS was around. It deserves so much more respect than it's getting. But excited for it, and hopefully it's a fun midweek performance. I mean, do it on a Wednesday night in Naples. I'd love to be able to say that just because we make it a fortress.
Yes, it'll be, again, it's really, this is kind of the interesting line where we haven't seen this yet, and I think that goes back to kind of our performance against Portland. It's hard to know if we're excited or disappointed with that result because we just don't know what Portland's going to be. Obviously, we're playing a division below us, and we want to avoid a cup set. Uh, and I think that, and my hope is that this team is taking it seriously and is getting ready to take care of business. Like, and that's where the mindset needs to be: is we are here to take care of business. We're the better team. We're gonna get we're gonna walk away, um, moving forward.
Yes, get in, get the win, move on, and then we're on to Texoma on Saturday. Who Texoma has struggled to start off the season, kind of been the opposite of Naples. They've played 2 home games. This game will be their third, three actually if you count the Open Cup match. 3 home games. They've scored 1 goal and they've allowed 5 in the league, 2 to Knoxville, 3 to Westchester, who's another expansion team. And then they also lost to 4-0 SC, who's a very good amateur side that was in the Open Cup. But again, not good to see these USL League One teams lose in the first round of the Open Cup. So that'll be another interesting game on the road. Lots of games under our legs where they've played 3. We will have played what, 5, 6?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because
and just another long travel day. A Wednesday here, Saturday there, and I think we get the week off before we are back in action. The following Saturday. Um, I think we're going to talk about it a lot throughout the year that this USL schedule is going to be grueling, and we're probably going to have tired legs on Saturday, probably tired legs the match day following. Um, and I think that's where the squad rotation, you know, we can't even be 13 deep. We're going to need to be 15. Guy number 15, guy number 16 is going to need to be able to come off the bench and provide valuable minutes. Uh, just when you incorporate the number of games and the number of miles we're putting on these guys, um, we're going to need the full squad if we want to do as well as we want in the U.S. Open Cup and as well as we expect in the league.
right. Yeah, we gotta play Texoma on Saturday, like we mentioned, the 5th, and then the week after that we're home to Richmond, who's currently in second place. But they did just lose to Forward Madison 2-1. Previously they beat AV Alta 3-1. But then you look at Richmond's schedule and they're playing Wednesday the 9th against Omaha, who's historically been one of the better teams in the league. Kind of off to a one. They're off to a 1 win, 1 loss start so far. But they play them on the Wednesday before coming down to Naples. So who the heck knows? This league is awesome. I love it, and I'm so here for all of this chaos.
All the It's going to come down to which manager, which team can balance, the grueling schedule. And if that looks like a boring 0-0 draw where you're still walking away with a point, I think that is going to lead to long-term success. Um, over the course of the season.
Absolutely. Part of me does wish that this game was an away game. Just because on Little Rock Rangers Wikipedia page, according to this, citing my sources here, they actually play at War Memorial Stadium in Little Rock, which apparently are the Arkansas Razorbacks. Which again, to your point, or to the fun game we can start playing on this podcast of University of blank or blank university. Is it University of Arkansas or Arkansas University? Feel free to play at home. We'll give you the answer here in a minute. Apparently, they play games there sometimes, smaller than their normal stadium in Fayetteville. But Billy Joel and Elton John have performed at the stadium where Little Rock Rangers play, along with the Eagles, the Rolling Stones, George Strait, and NSYNC. And Guns N' Roses also play there. President Harry Truman has performed there, as well as Bob Hope, all according to Wikipedia. So their stadium pretty hot spot for all of these famous acts coming through town.
Gotta go somewhere. So I guess Little Rock is the place. Um, yeah, it would be interesting to play in such a large stadium. Be curious to see what their fan base for a regular home game looks like. I am not anticipating much travel, especially for a midweek game from Little Rock. But yeah, time will tell, and that time will be here. Will be here shortly.
Yeah, gonna be interesting. And they also, being in USL League Two, a lot of their guys traditionally are college players who are still in the midst of their college spring season. So going to be interesting to see what kind of team they put out. We didn't even really do much research into the team. Again, we're very much amateur at this and have no idea what to expect with a semi pro team coming to town. To answer the
Indeed.
to answer the trivia question and pull it full circle, it is University of Arkansas. If you guessed University of Arkansas and not Arkansas University, congratulations. You have earned yourself 5 points. The points I have completely made up and are meaningless, but we will be giving them away throughout the season.
Keep track at home of your points. Simpler garden tokens at the end.
Well, Paul, do you have anything else to add before we go?
I've got nothing. Excited to see what type of showing we get from the home fans. I expect us to do it on a Wednesday night, probably a little rainy in Naples, and just um, excited to see us hopefully move on to the next round.
Yeah, we've already done it on a Tuesday night in Sarasota. Can we get it done on a Wednesday night in Naples? That's going to be the question. Question of the game. But yeah, thank you to everyone for listening to our podcast. Our listeners all over the world, all over the U.S. We thank you so much. This wouldn't be possible without you. If you want to get in touch with the show, you can email us forzanaples239 at gmail.com. That's all one word, forzanaples239 at gmail.com. We've also put it in the show description. Paul, thank you again so much for joining me as always, and we will see you all soon. Up the Naples.